Hello everyone. Many teachers inspire me to have the library reading in class, and because I'm running out of time in class for this activity, I would like to share with you one of my favorite books. And I guess you will love it. The Worst Witch series. And the author, Jill Murphy, started putting books together literally with a stapler when she was 6. Unbelievable, right? Her Worst Witch series, the first book of which was published in 1974, I was born at that time, is hugely successful, and she has also written and illustrated several award-winning picture books for younger children. And today I will share with you the first chapter of the book, The Worst Witch and the Wishing Star. Now, let's begin. Swirling rain and a biting wind buffeted the pupils of Miss Keko's academy as they struggled to reach the school in time for the first day of the winter term. The girls' cloaks kept blowing inside out, then flapping south, their faces like wet flannels. And most of the older pupils, who were expected to keep the cats sitting on their brooms at all times, had given up and crammed the cats into their basket for safety. Margaret Harper, who was not one of the best flyers in the school, was valiantly trying her best to keep Tappy, her never-striped cat, perched on the broom just in case anyone was watching when she arrived. She had wedged Tappy between her back and a laundry bag stuffed with books, and she could feel his claws through her gim slip as the unruly cloak flapped and wound above her shoulders. "Ouch!" she yelled. "It's all right, Tab. We are nearly there. Hanging on just a teeny bit longer. Ow, I didn't mean literally hang on. Ow! Ouch!" Margaret was right to be careful. Someone was watching. Miss Keko, the coyly head mistress, and Miss Harper, her ferocious second in command, were lurking just out of sight in Miss Keko's study, watching from the window as the girls gobbled or zoomed, depending on the gusting wind, over the wall and into the concrete playground. "Well, just look at that, Miss Harper," exclaimed Miss Keko. "Margaret Harper is the only senior pupil to have a cat on the broom, as stated in the regulations." Said Miss Harper. "Don't get too excited, Miss Keko. I'm sure she'll manage to do some little disaster before too long. She usually does." Now, Miss Harper," chided Miss Keko. "It's the first day of term, and we must begin it with hope in our hearts, even when contemplating one of our more challenging pupils." Down in the wind-swept courtyard, Miss Bat and Miss Mound were huddling beneath a huge dripping umbrella in the shelter of the castle wall, directing the pupils to put any free roaming cats into the baskets, leave anything in the cloakrooms, and go straight to the great hall, as it was obviously far too wet to assemble in the playground. As usual, the first years, who seemed smaller with each passing year to Margaret and her friends, arrived on foot, looking bedraggled and terrified as they entered the prison-like school and heard the gate clang shut behind them. To the flying pupils' horror, the playground was full of puddles, so that the relief of arriving in one piece was ruined as the girls swooped and hovered, desperately trying to avoid landing in the water. One of the first rules of broomstick management is that brooms are badly affected if they are too near the surface of a large amount of water, which can make them stop working abruptly. And the last thing that anyone wanted was to crash land in the puddle on the very first day. Myrat was delighted to land safely, well clear of a deep puddle to her left. She jumped off and commanded the broom to wait and hover while she reached round and detached Tuppy, claw by claw, from his rucksack-like position under her lock. She shoved him back onto the broom next to the laundry bag just in time to grab her best friend Maud, who had made it safely over the wall but was now heading for a small lake along the edge of the playground. Maud was completely tangled up in her cloak, and Myrat managed to catch her in the nick of time. "Hold on, Maud," yelled Myrat, flinging an arm round Maud's waist and restraining the broom with the other. "Tell it to stop or you end up in the huge puddle." "Stay, broom!" shrieked Maud, ungrabbing the cloak from her head and seizing her best friend in a bear hug. "Thank goodness you saw me, you saved my bacon." Unfortunately, they were not weak enough to save their friend Annette, who lurched suddenly over the wall in an uncontrollable nosedive straight into the lake of water, which Maud had managed to avoid. "Oh no!" cried Annette, spraying a plume of water behind her as she collapsed into a messy heap of bags and cat basket, with her cloak billowing up around her on the surface of the puddle. "Now everything's ruined. Just look at it all." Annette's cat, who was locked in the basket, was yowling his head off as the water seeped in round his paws. The broomstick was floating in the water, looking as if it would never do anything magic again. Had burst into tears. Myrat and Maud helped Annette to her feet and dragged all her luggage clear of the huge puddle as quickly as possible. "It's all right, Annette," said Maud reassuringly, wringing out the hem of her friend's ripping cloak. "It's not as bad as it looks, and your broom will be fine as soon as it's dried out." "Hey, you too," said Myrat suddenly. "Nice to see you again." She held her arms out, and the three best friends flung their arms round each other and jumped about in the rain, unexpectedly pleased, despite the horrible weather and the long winter term ahead, that they were back together again, come what may. And that's the end of chapter 1. I guess you will love the little worst witch. She may be the worst witch at Miss Cackle's Academy for witches, but she's the best friend you could ever have. Thank you for your listening.